yeah, buying and selling and IPOs, initial public offers, which is what when a company is initially coming to the market. And this means that when you're buying shares and it's a company coming initially to the market, the stockbroker is the placing agent, because there will be the people who structured the deal, which is probably an advisory team, an investment bank for that matter. There will be legal issues and everything. Now, the company sells the shares to the public in the initial public offer. That selling of the shares in the initial public offer is done through the stockbroker. So it is the stockbroker who will open your account, is the stockbroker who will give you who will get your CDSC account, and it's the stockbroker who will now assist you to apply for those shares. Of course, that also comes in if you're doing rights issues, for example, which is when a company is issuing additional shares to existing shareholders at a discount. Now, as you also had, a stockbroker, it's not a necessity. It is not something a stockbroker has to do, but an addition of value by most stockbrokers. And this is a key area when you're selecting a stockbroker, is the research and investment advice. How accessible is the research? How well done is it? What kind of research team do they have? And what kind of reports they're giving you? Because this is the information. Remember, value is king, but information is the key. So you may know about shares, but the information you have, because markets move because of information. For market to be efficient, you need to get information of what is happening on time, of what is happening in the market, at the same time, so that you all make the right decisions. So that is another area that stockbrokers will be supporting you. Another function, of course, as I said earlier, is opening CDSC accounts, and also, and this is where the initial contact with the market will usually happen, and that also goes into maintaining of your particulars at CDSC. Remember, the particulars you have at CDSC are the same particulars, for example, that a registrar is going to use when they're paying a dividend, because there are three key things that happen when a company announces their profit. The first one is they make the announcement, of course. The second one is there's a day that they close their books, meaning that between the announcement and the books closure, if you buy that share, you're going to get the dividend. So if you buy that share on the day they close the books, how are you going to get the dividend? After the books closure and between that and the payment date, which is the third major announcement, the information at CDSC will be passed on to the registrar so that they're able to tell who actually owns the shares at what point and who deserves to be paid a dividend. There are other things like immobilization of share certificates. If you have share certificates in this time and age, you cannot trade your shares. And so you need to have those shares in what we call a digital format. And the digital format is what sits at the Central Depository and Settlement Corporation. That's where the shares sit. So if you have share certificates, you need to come and immobilize them. And that's what the broker does. We are the ones who take those shares, you fill some form, you surrender the certificates, and we send those shares, those certificates to the Central Depository, and then now they will sit in an electronic state so that you are able to buy and sell those shares. And this helps a lot. This information is important because I know many of you might be the younger ones and you've not done share certificates, but if you look around, you have grandmothers, uncles, and aunties who may be holding certificates, and it is very important that you start to get them to immobilize them so that at any point, if they need even to transfer these shares to their beneficiaries, it is a very easy and simple process. One of the things Mary mentioned was pledging and unpledging of securities. Now, sometimes when you hold shares or you hold bonds, you want to take a loan against these securities. And so for you to take a loan against a security, it needs to be pledged, as in it needs to be used as collateral. It means during the time you're holding that loan, you cannot sell that security because it is a collateral for a loan. That is another function of brokers. And so if you're looking to borrow against your shares, and remember, if they're in share certificates, you cannot pledge them. So you also have to immobilize them. We also handle things like transmissions and private transfers. If a person passes on, whether it is interstate or not, as in they had a will or they did not have a will, those shares are like the same mashamba we go and divide when somebody passes on. So that is a function of stockbrokers. We are the ones you will come to, and then we will open accounts for these beneficiaries. We will assist with the process of making sure the documentation that you need to be able to transfer those shares to the beneficiaries is all right, and you can do that. Another thing you can actually do is transfer shares to somebody whom you're related to, but there has to be proof of relation. So it can be a son or a daughter, probably a parent, but there has to be proof that, like a birth certificate or a marriage certificate, that the person you're transferring to is actually a relative. But that is another function that stockbrokers do.